care about Instagram. Instagram sucks. Right, but just so you know, if you have over this many followers, you can get the movie funded. Well, I want to make the movie.
This was the feedback that I heard, was because I didn't have enough Instagram followers.
Being able to act doesn't matter.
I would get in the audition rooms and they would tell me how many followers do you have. So many parts and so many, even commercials that I've just missed out on because I didn't have enough of a following. Because this actually happens a lot, and even when you go on Actors Access, sometimes it says big name people or people with X amount of following apply only.
If you have enough followers, a loyal fan base, we will give you that Netflix movie deal. Everyone's happy, right?
It tells you a lot about this industry.
Recently, I came across the announcement of Emma Chamberlain making her acting debut in the witchy horror film Forbidden Fruits, and after looking through some of the comments, one of them caught my attention. Stop casting based on the number of followers of influencers. And I thought to myself, maybe they have a point. I started listing influencers off in my head who have been cast in a role and realised it's a lot more common than you think. Over the last decade, we have seen social media stars getting cast in films, TV shows. They may not have the best reviews or be made particularly well, but it is some sort of start. With the rise of influencers getting pushed more into mainstream media, it began the debate online with people claiming that, well, they're already standing in front of a camera and pretending to have this life that isn't necessarily 100% true, and they're talking to their fan base and curating a fan base, so they technically already put on some sort of performance. There's also the argument that influencers are in the category of entertainment, and the creative arts are always interchanging with each other. So what's the problem? What is the problem? Why is everyone so mad? Now, if you're an actor watching this, you're probably already on the edge of your seat thinking, shit, let me just drop my acting career, pick up a vlog camera and start a coffee business. No hate to Emma Chamberlain, she is literally an icon. But from what I'm about to tell you, you may feel like it. My rabbit is chewing. Some casting directors revealed that acting talent may only account for 7% of the reason a particular actor gets a role. They suggested that actors should start recording short films, skits, posting them to social media to get more exposure, which honestly, in itself, is quite a mad statement, and I don't necessarily believe it. But with that said, there are a lot of reasons that influencers get cast that aren't always surrounded around their follower count. Why are influencers getting cast? To quote Modern Girls, which this video and the title and everything is inspired by, the industry has decided that a name is more important than a good performance. There are lots of reasons a studio may hire an influencer, with some of them being that they have a lot of fans who are very excited to see their favourite creators in a project, which will increase viewership. They often use the casting of an influencer as a marketing tactic. Like they do with professional actors, the same thing happens with influencers. If Emma Chamberlain's going to be in a movie, people are going to see that because they want to see Emma Chamberlain in a movie. And especially with creating their own following, they have a very good sense of how to market themselves and projects. So when they cast influencers, they're kind of getting a done deal of, well, they're going to promote the movie anyway, and they know how to do that. We don't need to interfere. We're not risking anything by hiring an actor who's not well known. We have a guaranteed viewership that is going to be brought in by this specific influencer. How many times have you seen a She's All That or Training Day's reaction video? It's because even if it's bad, it doesn't really matter. People love shit. People just love shit. They possibly are also marketing it towards a different audience. Another thing that influencers can do that helps a studio is they're already pretty loaded. So they can help you fund the film. That's why you see these influencer type films, is because someone's given these influencers a script and then they're like, okay, let's make the film, but you're gonna have to pay for it. But there are also negatives of casting influencers. The quality of the movie or show could go down. Streaming services have been known to cancel other shows to make room for shows that have influencers in, because it's kind of like a cash grab. Influencers may need training on set on how to act, which sounds kind of ridiculous because that's kind of why they're hired. Also, a massive thing that has caused a lot of debate and talks in the actor community is how they're undermining professional actors, with casting directors focusing more on follower accounts than actual acting ability. On Reddit, a thread brought up a really good point. Influencers don't sit well in films. The comments read, they are so overexposed on social media, with their content everywhere on every platform. Sometimes even really viral stuff that it just doesn't spark anything inside me when I see them in a trailer. Most of them have already played so many characters in their skits, they dress up a lot and post every tiny bit of their life online that when you see them on the big screen, it feels like you're just on your phone. It's quite obvious, almost always, they are roped in to bring an audience from their big following. It feels like a shameless product placement in the film. In between actors and influencers, there are a middle ground, and we call these TikTok actors.
What the 2020 POV is this?
Since pretty much the beginning of content, we've seen the start of small skits, whether that be comedy on Vine or intense POVs on TikTok. Many people have discussed whether TikTok actors do this to pursue an actual acting career or are just having fun. With Backstage doing a quiz and every performer they spoke to said that none of them use the app to get discovered or book traditional acting jobs. James Tang, a actor on TikTok, explains the dream of getting a 3-picture deal from Netflix, like the one TikTok star Addison Rae got in 2021, is an outlier. For a majority of us, the app wasn't changing our careers and lives, he said. And for the people who were booking roles, it seemed like they were only pursuing things in the traditional industry, namely film and television. There have been several stars from Vine and TikTok who have gone on to actually have an acting career. One of them being Jack Martin, who pursued an acting career following his fame on TikTok. I kind of knew him from being Lily Reinhart's boyfriend, but he's also in a series that is successful and is more into the mainstream of acting than being on TikTok. But he did get his start by posting acting segments on TikTok. There's a whole community. I haven't even dived into the community because I feel a bit scared, to be honest. One of the reasons that many of these actors who end up getting deemed as TikTok actors pursue TikTok is because they could potentially earn a living by doing something closer to what they want to do. So instead of working as a waitress or a barista, they can post themselves acting in a little POV or lip syncing. It's kind of a happy medium for some people.
Obviously, being the lead in a rom-com requires me to have romantic scenes with a co-star.
Are influencers making a mockery of real actors? The discussion that came up a lot when I was researching this video is whether influencers are taking jobs from actors. To put it blank, kind of yes. Acting is like one of the hardest things to actually make a living from. According to a comprehensive study that examined, I told Mum the other day that I was really bad at pronouncing numbers, like long ones, and now I've got a long number to pronounce. 2,408,501. They examined this many performers. As low as 2% of these actors are able to make a living out of acting, which is quite scary. If you wanted to go to acting school and qualify in a traditional BFA, Bachelor's of Fine Arts program, it would take 4 years, and any other course would vary, but they tend to take a few years to actually get a qualification that you can then put on your Spotlight or Star Now or whatever you have, be able to say that you can do these things. But at the same time, it doesn't guarantee you anything, right? So you've just trained 4 years, but you could still be working as a waitress. So when an influencer who generally has never ever thought about acting in their life and does all sorts of stuff, one day they'll be writing a song, the next day they'll be starting a beauty brand, the next day they'll be starting a clothing brand. Oh, let me just act in a film. So when actors who spend their whole life trying to get a role in just anything, and then an influencer comes along and is like, oh yeah, well I may as well, like the opportunity's there, which I don't blame them for taking the opportunity, but at the same time you do feel sorry for these people who have spent their whole lives working to try and become successful in acting, and an influencer with 1 million followers, more than them, gets a part because of solely that. Are actors being pushed to turn into influencers?
I've talked to so many smart directors, and they're like, just so you know, when I'm casting a movie with some producers, they hand me a sheet with the amount of collective followers I have to get of the cast that I cast. So if you delete your Instagram and I lose those followers, understand that these are the kinds of people that I need to cast around you.
There have been many cases of even very successful actors getting told that they didn't get the part purely because of their follower account, and that they had to pursue an online career in order to be able to get booked. We have seen Jenna Ortega, Ellie Fanning talk about this themselves and their experience with it.
See, when I first started acting, it was told to me, by my first agency really, that I had to have a public platform and that's what I had to be. And also when I did television shows when I was younger, they would take us to media training, or they would call it, Disney 101, where you would go and they would give you a notebook and pens and pencils and paper, and they would say, okay, you're going to post 3 times a day. This is how you get the most engagement. This is how you get people liked. This is how you build followers. Download these apps as well. Engage, promote our show on, or you would go into some sort of audition or meeting, and it was, how many followers do you have?
Yeah, I didn't get a part once because I didn't have enough followers.
Yeah,
which I was like, it was so weird. They're like,
so
you were great, but your numbers.
In this article by Backstage, Will Being an Influencer Get You Cast, written by Mary Liroff, it discusses the question that consumes a lot of actors. Do I need a social media following to get cast in a project? These days, there is so much content being produced, from big budget studio movies and cable and online networks, down to micro-budget films and web series. Each one has its own needs. There are many projects out there, such as web series and smaller films, that definitely want to hire YouTubers and Viners. This is a pretty recent article, and it's still saying Vine. Guys, Vine died. Sorry if I'm this one to tell you this, but Vine is gone. They hope that by populating their casts with people who have become celebrities on these platforms, they can monetize their followers to pay to see them at the movies or online. Does the audience want to see their favorite social media star acting in a movie? Or do we still want to see our favorite movie stars who can actually act and move for us? Bro, did I just say move for us? I don't know why I do this. Like, I love doing this. I love doing YouTube, but I'm generally just shit at talking. I bought like a book on how to speak. It's called The Art of Explanation by Ross Atkins. If you are like me and you can't speak, get that book. It does help. Does the audience want to see their favourite social media star acting in a movie? Or do we still want to see our favourite movie star who can actually act and move us? For me, it's what we call stunt casting, or cameo casting. It takes me out of the movie and calls attention to itself. But time will tell, and plenty of projects are focused on attaching these influencers, as they're called. Agencies are devoting entire departments to social media stars, and projects are being developed for them. So you can see how influence actors and normal actors, there is a difference. Some of the stuff that influencers get cast for, actual actors won't want to go anywhere near, you know? While most of these social media sensations aren't trained actors, some of them are actually very talented. For the actors who are worried about this competition, I say it's like comparing apples and eggs. They're completely different markets. It takes time to build a following. Remember that these social media celebrities are doing this full time, and they are professionals at it. But remember, that's probably not what your acting training was meant for. Ethan Hawke, Maya Hawke's dad, commented on his experiences with social media and production. I really feel for these people. It's really hard, he said. Sometimes I'll be setting a movie up and someone will say, "Oh, you should cast Susie." I'm like, "Who's Susie? She has 10 million followers." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Has she acted before?" "No, but..." And you're like, wow, so this is going to help me get the movie made. This is crazy. So if I don't have this public-facing platform, I don't have a career. And if I get more followers, I might get the part. What? To be honest, there are actors who are big and just won Oscars who don't have social media, but at the same time, it's not uncommon these days to get asked what your social media is, or put it on your profile, or to use it almost like a showreel. At the end of the day, influencers will still be getting cast in movies and TV shows. And there are a vast majority of them who are generally good performers and give what the characters or what the project needed. But at the same time, you know, there are going to be those actors who you're like, why? Why are they here right now? Go back on your phone. Do a little dance. There'll always be room for actors who don't want to have social media and go down the traditional route and do it the old-fashioned way. But with that said, obviously having a social media to use as a showreel and get exposure, and I'm not saying become an influencer, I'm just saying use to post your projects on, does always help, and it does mean there is going to be more potential eyes on you if you do that. Now, to make it a full circle, going back to Emma Chamberlain getting cast in the new film Forbidden Fruits, which is planning to be released theatrically next year. I'm very excited for that. I generally think she's going to be really good at it. With Emma Chamberlain, I feel like she's more than an influencer now. I think she's like the mother of everyone. She's kind of given birth to these little influencers. So, question of the comments today is, do you think production companies care more about the craft or the name and the numbers? Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I decided to film here because the light is good. And also, before I go though, I do want to give you guys a hug, but I can't because you're like not here right now. Really unfortunate. It's just me and Bean. Bean's sleeping. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm sorry if I've been annoying this video, but I've just been a little bit hyper.